properties are set. All right, I think we're on. And let me do this real quick. I'm sorry. We're gonna. All right, and I think I should have everything set here. So, position. And with that, good evening, everyone. Impromptu severe weather coverage for a tornado warning up in Carroll County, northeastern Carroll County, right now. There's a reason why I'm on with you at the moment. We do have this rotation near Hampstead that is capable of producing a tornado. Let me check the latest bulletin because there has been an update since I was trying to get on stream. At 8:35, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Hampstead, or 7 miles east of Westminster, moving east at 10 miles per hour. As I take you to the regular old weather space here, that is the wording for the Weather Service as of not even 10 minutes ago, more like 6 minutes ago at this point. There's your rotation over Hampstead. It is a slow mover east at 10 miles per hour. I do not think we have any um, cameras that are immediately in the path of this, which does help which doesn't help our cause really trying to track this thing down. Uh, yeah, the closest one is Reisterstown. They're not even in the path of this right now. It'd be more towards Hereford if it does hold together. Let me just make sure my audios are set as well. There we go. So we don't get the double feedback in case there's any new information that comes in. Let's just analyze this storm here. So there it is, right over Green Acres, Cascade Estates, Snydersburg, Lester Acres, towards Brillhart Terrace. That's where we have the concern for a potential tornado right now. This is heading towards Armacost across the county line. You got Grace Road, Black Rock Road, Lower Beckley'sville Road, the Scotts Ridge community, Buena Vista Estates, all these little subdivisions here on the Carroll County, Baltimore County line. You got Mount Carmel Road, Marshall Mill Road. If these locations sound familiar to you, here's what you want to do. You want to get to the lowest level of a sturdy building, one that's fixed to a concrete slab or a foundation. You want to get to the lowest portion of that building, the lowest floor, so to speak. You want to put yourself in the most interior portion of that building. An inside closet, whether it be your home, like an interior closet, an interior bathroom. That would be really optimal in a situation like this. If you have a basement, go there. That's the most optimal spot. Your goal is to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Grab a helmet. Protect yourself from flying debris. Wrap yourself up in blankets, pillows. I'd say you got just enough time in Baltimore County from Albintown down to White House and Haletown. If you can grab a mattress, you might want to do so. But again, there's no current indication that we have a tornado in progress right now. The CC is not looking the best with this as of the moment. So I'm not really concerned about tornado, at least immediately, but in the near future, that is something we very much have to consider. Just to get your bearings, this is east of Westminster, well, east-northeast of Westminster, but you get the point. This is east-northeast of Westminster, north of Boring and Butler and Reisterstown, way north of there. This is up towards the Hereford zone in northwestern Baltimore County, northeastern Carroll County, near the Manchester area. Other storms ongoing across Maryland. We do have this Boeing segment that may bring winds of, let's say, 40 to 50 miles per hour that's moving through Howard County and Carroll County that just got through portions of Montgomery County. Let me check if we have any reports, because I know that was a point of interest earlier with some of these storms. But I'm looking at this. No reports across the state as of right now. Looking at Virginia, nothing too impressive either. So that is the good news so far in terms of severe weather. Although I will note there are some scattered thunderstorms here along from the Wye River, I think that would be, or pardon me, that would be the Chester River, heading towards the Wye River as you get down south. This would be Kent County into Queen Anne's County along 301 and then Northern Caroline County as well. And then we do have more organized thunderstorms that are of severe criteria that are in Fauquier County, Prince William County. Um, these are going to be more organized and eventually head down towards Sovereign Prince George's County and Charles County in due time. There are severe thunderstorm warnings for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds with these. These also extend into northern portions of Stafford County. I believe it extends down to portions of Fairfax County, Virginia as well. Eventually, this will be approaching the Potomac River in due time. Let me pull up the warnings on these and see how fast those are moving. 25. So I'd say within the next hour, 90 minutes, this will start to become a problem here for counties along the Potomac River, in particular PG County, Charles County, with this particular segment, if this does hold. Back north, we do have some more storms that are starting to interfere, which is a good thing. What you want to look for, and I'm going to bring my face back up here for a second. What you want to look for typically when you're talking about tornado setups is you want to have a clear slot where you don't have any interference and the storm can feed off of. The circulation itself can feed off of. But what is happening here is that we're having all this activity from Woodsboro to Westminster to Reisterstown to Phoenix, Sparks, and Glencoe that's interfering with this particular thunderstorm. And I think that's starting to try to choke it off a little bit because, at least in terms of the reflectivity, it doesn't look as impressive as it did earlier, which is promising. But still, if you're in northeastern Carroll County, northwestern Baltimore County, you should still be in your tornado shelter as of this point. But that's one thing that I found interesting, and I'll put this into a loop here just so I can confirm for myself what I've seen. There was a mean hook echo over Westminster, right over the Carroll County Regional Airport, and that continued onward towards Mexico. That showed signs of rotation earlier. It got warned by about 8:30. That'd be 8:27. So just about then. And then from there, it moved through Mexico and then Hampstead and Greenmount. And it's not as potent. See how earlier there was not much in terms of convective activity to interfere with this particular thunderstorm, and it was able to rotate? Now we got this activity coming from the Patapsco River, southern Carroll County, moving in, and that's really interfering with this storm and its ability to produce rotation. I'll actually put on the dual screen here, and I'll put up velocity just so you can see this better as well. There it is. We had some good rotation with that, and then it pulsed up really just northeast of Westminster. I wouldn't be surprised if something tried to touch down out of it at that point. Not the best look, but still, it's there. But again, that may have done something towards the Westminster area. We'll have to wait for reports if there is any. But it looked a lot more impressive earlier, and now that hook is no longer as apparent with this particular thunderstorm. And you can see here the rotation's a lot weaker, but still there. On the north side of Hampstead, near the Greenmount area, right around Broadbeck Road, heading towards, that's the Hampstead bypass on Highway 30. You got 482, Farmwoods Lane. This is going to be right by the Memorial Park. The North Carroll Farm Community Park there, the roofing company, right on Main Street. And then Wilmar Acres, Crestview Meadows, Archbow Valley. A lot of these smaller subdivisions here on the north and northeastern sides of Hampstead, that's where this circulation would be located if it's trying to produce a tornado. Moving back south, I wouldn't be surprised if the Weather Service at some point pulls the trigger on a severe thunderstorm warning down here in central Maryland. I mean, the winds are not as impressive here, but if we continue to see this Boeing segment continue, we'll have problems. I'm seeing winds of 30, 40 miles per hour. But let me just check this real quick. I'm not sold on this near Liberty Town. Let me just check with storm relatives. There's something. And I'll have to draw this in a different color, so you have to bear with me here. We'll do this in black. You see where Taylorsville we have the reds and the greens, and then forgive me, the storm relative velocity on this system, the color table is a little different. But this is where we got the reds and greens meeting, and this is where we're concerned potentially for a bookend vortex tornado. Typically, when you have these storm mergers, sometimes on the northern end, the northern flank, you start getting a lot of this activity merging, and that can create changing of the winds itself, creating the shear and the rotation needed to produce tornadic activity. So I'm not going to let my guard down here, and neither should you in Carroll County, because if this tries to do something, I wouldn't be surprised. But that might be a little bit further down the line, if it even comes to fruition. Otherwise, we just have heavy rain moving through eastern Montgomery County, getting ready to move into northern Prince George's County, moving through western Howard County now. And we've had a lot of rain as of late. I'll actually pull up some totals here, so give me a second. We'll do this. I mean, Annapolis's rain totals, they've not had a whole lot today, but like for the month, they're approaching half a foot of rainfall, and we're halfway through. It's insane some of the rainfall that has fallen over the last 2 weeks and change. Let me just look here. First things first, I'll look at the Maryland Mesonet. Actually, we'll do this. Just check the rainfall totals. It's midnight. Wow, Clear Spring, and just to give you perspective, Clear Spring is way up here in Washington County. Almost an inch and a half of rainfall at the Clear Spring State Mesonet Station in Washington County today. A quarter inch of rain already in Parkton from some of the storms that we have had. Y Mills, a quarter inch of rainfall. That's out in Queen Anne's County. So, again, a lot of these storms, if you get under one, you're going to get a good chunk of rainfall. And not to mention, we're just now starting to get observations here and also rainfall that's occurring in Lay Hill and College Park and Clarksville, some of those locations out there where they got Mesonet stations. So I would anticipate as we go on, those totals will start to increase as well. Looking at the ASOS observations, I'll have to go to a different site for that one. Do this. We'll place. Go to default tools today. Westminster at the Carroll County Regional Airport so far, about 4/10 of an inch. Same at Hagerstown, Cumberland, 1300ths. So we've had some rainfall in some of these locations today, and it's been hit or miss out west. I'll actually put this into play for you. First things first, let me check this rotation there. Hampstead, still relatively weak, but I'm keeping an eye on this one for now. Still radar indicated. That's going to be moving to Baltimore County shortly, and that's actually getting merged with the energy that that's come up from the south here in Carroll County. Look at that. So I would anticipate at some point that energy is going to kill this circulation off, but could a new one form? Can't rule it out. But let me just put this into motion here for you, and I'll play the last 100 scans for that matter. I'll play this down. Notice these start out scattered around 1 and 2 o'clock and start to pick up in intensity to some level, but still not a congealed line in nature until, let's say, it reached US 15, 270, especially on the southern end, and now we're starting to get all this activity occurring. There you go. Along 81 wasn't too impressive. I think once it started getting towards Interstate 66, and especially US 15, is when we started having the more congealed, organized storms, and that's where we are right now. The southern end of this, of course, is the heavier of the two at the moment, but this northern half, I'm still keeping tabs on for right now. Just look at some other things real quick. I would anticipate hail size not going to be the biggest drive with this. We'll get the rotation tracks in a second, but probability of severe hail, not the greatest. I'm trying to find areas within here, but this is scanning. Understand, this scans the entire nation, and you can see where got some of the blues in Missouri, but there's nothing here. Probability of severe hail is going to be on the lower end right now, especially as we're losing the daytime heating, the helicity that creates the rising motion of the air. We're not going to have as much of that available as a resource here in the atmosphere with the loss of daytime heating. Maximum estimated size of hail, not the greatest. I mean, when you're talking yellows, at best, you're talking probably nickel-sized hail. P to nickel-sized hail is probably what we can talk about here in the yellows. And I'm seeing blues and greens up here with this storm in Carroll County. So hail will not be a big concern with this one so far. I would anticipate they're going to drop this warning. Let me just check to see if there's any wording from Sterling about that. And a flash flood warning just came out as well. But I think that might be outside. Yeah, that's in Virginia. That's why it's not popping up on our system, because we have it set to Maryland counties. By the way, you want warnings, especially when we're in busier weather events. The ticker is rolling at the bottom of your screen. The crawler that we have here at the bottom of the screen, it goes through all the tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood warnings. I can even set it during non-severe months to have like winter alerts, so winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, extreme cold, all of that. So that's a nice little feature that I have started to implement here in the last several months, but that is it. Tornado warning remains in effect until 9 o'clock. No wording from the Weather Service if they're going to let this drop, but I would anticipate they're probably going to. Although I will say the maximum estimated size of hail within this latest scan in Baltimore County is starting to increase. Severe thunderstorm warning issued now for northeastern Carroll County, northwestern Baltimore County, and that may be a sign that they're going to drop this. And just roll with a severe thunderstorm warning with a tort possible tag. Let me just check that real quick. Yep, severe thunderstorm warning, and it does have a tort possible tag on it. So that's what the Weather Service is thinking of right now. And how about this? In the bulletin, there's apparently confirmed damage. Emergency management reported lines down in Westminster. Whether that's wind related, tornado related, that is very interesting, believe it or not. So this storm does mean business. Is it popping up on my end here? Not yet, but I would anticipate that it'll pop up on the system here within short order. But this is radar indicated in terms of the threats. But again, there's been reports from EMA in Carroll County, according to the National Weather Service bulletin on this severe thunderstorm warning, of power lines down in Westminster. So very interesting situation going on there. And if you're in the Hereford zone here of Baltimore County along the Harrisburg, be mindful. Freeland down to Hereford and Glencoe, Sparks. This could be a storm that could produce some wind damage, at least straight line wind damage in excess of 60 miles per hour. So be mindful of that. I'm also starting to get a little bit more concerned about northern sections of Prince George's County. This northern line, and let me just forgive me on the long loop. I have to switch that back down to, let's say, 15 to be safe. It's trying to bow out. I can see that this is trying to bow out. You have the winds pushing out from behind to try to bow this thing out, but it's also looking like it's trying to fall apart. And it might be because we've had some areas of the atmosphere that were used up earlier across nearby western suburbs along I-70, Howard County, Carroll County. This may go back into a strengthening phase here as it goes into Metro Baltimore, but we'll have to wait and see with time. This warning is done, I think. Yep, the tornado warning for northeastern Carroll and northwestern Baltimore counties will expire at 9, which was about 3 minutes ago when this was put out. So we do have our we still have our severe thunderstorm warning here in Baltimore County, but the tornado warning is done. Although I will say it does have a possible tag on it, so we need to keep tags or tabs, I should say, on this particular thunderstorm. And then the main line here, spanning from Eldersburg down to Silver Spring, and then the heavy segment here, Charles County. I mean, you're about 20 to 25 minutes away from the southern line, and this has been proving to be strong. So Charles County, you might want to be prepared for severe thunderstorm warnings down the line. We do have more storms back towards Pittsburgh. I'll put on the Pittsburgh radar for this one that are strong, and also we have flash flooding concerns over there if you have any loved ones up the way towards Pittsburgh at the moment. And then we still have our scattered activity, Kent County down to Caroline. But that is it for right now in terms of severe weather, at least, and strong thunderstorms included. Let me actually, I'm curious about the rotation tracks. We'll go into rotation tracks. I forgot to do this earlier. We'll do the last hour. So there's your rotation across the north side of Westminster. Let me check the ASOS in Westminster at the Carroll County Regional Airport, because I would be really invested into what that is showing. Our max wind gusts only 18. How about that? Let me just verify this. 35 minutes it does observations that I've seen so far. Wind gust only 18 miles per hour, 8:35. So that was about 30 minutes ago as this was starting to come in. So if we did have something touch down, it was probably EF0, EF1. If it did. Power outages. I'm going to go look at that real quick. In Carroll County, because of the power lines down, I'm curious about what we've had. So I'm checking on poweroutage.us. As of the moment, 315 customers are out in Carroll County, 450 in Baltimore County, almost 200 in Howard, only 43 in Montgomery County, 354 customers out in Frederick County. And granted, that's probably a mix of two different energy providers here that we have. Two electric providers, I should say, in terms of proper vocabulary. That's probably a mix of BG&E, and it's probably a mix of Pepco as well. So, actually, I stand corrected. That's probably all BG. That's probably a good chunk of BG&E, because BG&E covers a good chunk of the state. So, pardon me on that. A good chunk of that's probably BG&E, because they cover the city, the county, AA, Calvert, Carroll, Hartford, Howard, Montgomery, and PG. They have a lot of real estate in terms of BG&E. I'll tell you that. Pepco only covers Montgomery County, PG County, and there's not many out over there. Delmarva power that covers the Eastern Shore and the Delmarva here. So Caroline, Cecil, Dorchester, Hart, a little bit of Hartford County, believe it or not. Kent County, Queen Anne, Somerset, Talbot, Wacomico, Worcester. So some of these kind of intertwine a little bit, but for the most part, we have some customers out, but not a substantially large number at this point. But if you are without power, of course, it is a major inconvenience for you. So there is that. And there's your rotation from earlier. I'll get this down to the last 30 minutes, and I'll actually put this over the last 2 hours. This showed signs of rotation earlier. This was a storm back towards Loudoun County that went over Leesburg with a severe thunderstorm warning and 70-mile-per-hour winds that were being warned for. It had some rotation, but a lot of that was also really strong wind. And you could see that here. Once you start getting into those reds, you're either indicating really strong winds that came through or strong rotation that may lead to tornadic activity. So that's the last 30 minutes on that one. Or the last 2 hours on that one. Here, the last 2 to 4 hours. And then that's upper level rotation here. And we're looking at. So just going around with a lot of this stuff as well. But there's your hail swaths over the last 2 hours and over the last 4. And we've had some hail, like you could see Loudoun County was in particular hard hit. Got portions here of Warren County and into Fauquier County that have been kind of slammed as well. But that is the general gist of things. I will take it back from the MRMS to the next rad. A lot of storms here starting to approach the metro. So for those in Metro Baltimore, Laurel, Columbia, Ellicott City, Catonsville, Arbutus, up to Woodlawn and Milford Mill, Pikesville to Owings Mills, you're going to get on some heavy activity. Now, I think if there is the highest probability of severe thunderstorm warnings right now, it would be with the southern end of this, south of 32. So right by Fort Meade, Savage, down to Laurel, Greenbelt, to East Riverdale, getting into the D.C. Metro. That's where I would be most concerned about potential severe thunderstorm warning. We have some other storms trying to pop up here along 97, essentially from Glen Burnie and Brooklyn down to Severn and Odenton. I'll get a little closer, Millersville and towards Crofton. And that's popping up within the last little bit here. And that might turn itself into a line at some point as well. And this energy that was up on the Eastern Shore is turned across the bay and trying to merge with the stuff in Baltimore County. So there's a lot going on right now. And it has been going on over the last hour and a half. So there's that circulation near Westminster that caused the damage, whether it's straight line winds or a tornado, that is to be determined. But that is what we are seeing right now with this. As of right now, no new warnings. Just watching, waiting, checking on things. Pardon me, I needed that. Yeah, this is congeal. This is trying to congeal. It went through a weakening phase, and now I may be concerned that it's trying to go back into a strengthening phase once it starts getting, let's say, east of 32, east of Sykesville Road, because some of these areas haven't been quite used up yet. Although it is raining right now in the city, in Towson, in Pikesville, and Owings Mills, down to Catonsville and the Highlands, Arbutus, Lansdowne. The heaviest rain hasn't come through yet. And then we may have another round that tries to make it to us later on in the overnight. But I will say, the HRRR, the High Resolution Rapid Refresh model, has been really trying to push this thing weakening. Once it gets to, let's say, the US 15 corridor by about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me just check that here real quick while I'm with you. And actually pop this up if I can. Pop this up. Can I do... And let's just cut over here real quickly. And I'm gonna look. Okay, we got the wrong region. All right. Let's go to Mid Atlantic. Let's analyze this real quick. This is the HRRR, the high resolution rapid refresh model, and this updates hourly, just so you know. And this is going to be one of those big runs because it is now 0Z, or the 8 o'clock run that's getting in and getting adjusted. So I'll scroll this a little bit more up, and actually, that's not the right one I wanted to use. Let's use do 1 km or composite. I think let's try 1 km first. All right, so this is the big run. And you can see we have those storms moving through now. From now through about, let's say, 11 o'clock midnight, we'll have to contend with these. So 4Z, that is 12 a.m. midnight Eastern Daylight Time. And then there may be a second round towards 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. But this line, notice, once it starts getting towards 81 and 15, it's falling apart. So there's another thing to consider for tomorrow into the morning hours. And we do have another severe threat tomorrow as well that we have to be concerned about. Let me just check composites just to get our ground covered here. Here is composite of the high resolution rapid refresh. And again, this is a big run, so there's a lot more data that's going to be coming in with this. But you can see we have our batch of storms here through about midnight, maybe as late as 1 a.m. We may have another round towards 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It just depends on, number one, are these storms going to pop up to the south with all that energy and get back north? Because we already have that line starting to bear down on Charles County and St. Mary's County. And number two, will this line to the west start to fall apart at some point once it reaches, let's say, 81 or again, US 15? We may have multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms tonight. And then tomorrow, we have a lull, but we're going to have more storms. Let me take you back to the radar. I'll actually do this. Okay. And just show you what's been going on with our severe weather outlooks. Is it A? Just to take these alerts off. Troy, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Is it? Or is it? Forgive me. I'm thinking here. Well, it just booted me. I am still figuring out the shortcuts on this program, so forgive me. And for future reference, that would be come on. Alt. Okay, I got you. Technology. It's still figuring out the new system and everything. How about that? But let me just show you the outlooks for tomorrow. So that's today with the marginal risk. Tomorrow's a marginal risk for everybody. Statewide. Doesn't matter where you are in the state. Tomorrow, you're under a marginal risk for severe weather. And then just general thunderstorms for Friday as we head into the weekend. And we're looking to be somewhat more unsettled, especially heading into Sunday. Let me just take a look at our probabilistic products here from the SPC. Nothing for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Okay, and these are probably too far to even try to predict. But just so you know, tomorrow we have a marginal risk again for the entire state. The main concern being damaging winds, although I can't rule out the hail, even though it's not listed here. Spin up tornadoes, can't rule that out either. But The primary concern for tomorrow is going to be damaging winds and flash flooding once again. Now, excessive rainfall. Tonight, we are under a slight risk at least 15% for excessive rainfall. The green down in the lower Delmarva, southern Maryland, that is 5%. Tomorrow, so far, it looks like the western two counties in the state, Allegheny County, Garrett County, would be of concern. From there, on Friday, it is everybody with a concern of excessive rainfall. And then moving into Saturday, again, excessive rainfall could be a big, big problem. How much rain are we talking? Let me just look at the Weather Prediction Center precipitation forecast. We'll do multi-day for that matter. Looking from now through about Friday, the Weather Prediction Center is stating that we could have anywhere from, let's say, an inch of rain, half an inch of rain, to an inch plus, potentially an inch and a half in some local areas. But even then, that's very isolated. But if it happens, and it happens in a short amount of time, we could easily run into problems. Pardon me. This is now through about Monday. I think this is now through Monday. Could see some good rainfall totals here as well. So, yeah, could be a situation where we have to deal with rain. And pardon me on that. Water sometimes. It's been a day. It has been a day. But, yeah, rainfall concerns could be an issue, and we've already had a lot of rain in several locations. I could tell you first things first. In terms of the rainfall at Thurgood, we have picked up, or recorded, I should say, close to 4 inches of rain. I can verify that here with today's almanac, climatology, whatever you want to call it, at Thurgood. We'll go to this. Nothing yet, but rain is coming. It's on the way. So, for the month we're at. Actually, pardon me. I thought we were close to the 4. That might be the Science Center at Thurgood itself. Not even 3. Yeah. What am I doing? I'm looking at the record value. It's throwing me off. The format's throwing me off. What am I doing? Yeah, it's almost 4 inches of rain. 3.94 at Thurgood for the month. Since the start of the meteorological summer, June 1st, almost 7 inches of rain. 6.8 to be exact. We're closing in on being at average. Right now, where we stand, we need 0.4 of an inch of rain to get to average for the year so far. We'll see what this rain does. But if we get at least 0.4, then we're back to average. And drought monitor outlooks come out tomorrow. That'll be interesting to see how that implicates for Metro Baltimore and a good chunk of North Central Maryland, because I will pull up the outlooks again, and I will pull up the drought. And as you will see, we still have a stubborn area of moderate drought beltway northward and eastward, Harford County, Baltimore County, and then abnormally dry, essentially the shores surrounding the perimeter of both the western shore and the eastern shore as well. So I'll be interested in tomorrow's outlook and see how that plays a role. But yeah, we've picked up a good chunk of rainfall. Annapolis, I mentioned earlier, Annapolis totals have just been utterly insane. For the month, 5.64 inches of rain. And there's more falling already, and there's even more to come. So could we get to half a foot by the end of the night in terms of the monthly totals so far, and we're barely halfway through? Very much possible. It's insane what Annapolis has received for the month. It's been so insane that the surplus from the average annual total has gone from, let's say, around 2 inches of rain to start off July to now we're over 7. It's insane. All the rainfall does, occurred in some of these locations. The capital city has just been under deluge after deluge and round of storm after round of storm. It's been eventful. At Hagerstown Regional, as of the 5 o'clock posting, it was 1/10 of an inch. So far at Hagerstown Regional, as of the latest that I can get in terms of information, how much has been recorded? That would be, let's start here, some of the heavier drops here on the northwest side. So we're getting the heavy rainfall here, and it's trying to reorganize. As I said, it would probably try to. Looking at the rainfall, though, I would be surprised if that's 2 tenths. Let me just verify that with the data calendar. 4,100 said Hagerstown Regional. So picked up some good rainfall there. Let's go back and equating that in. Now we're closing in on under an inch. Actually, we're now under an inch and a half in terms of the deficit of rainfall for the year at Hagerstown Regional, which is good news. But still, some of these locations need more rain, some just don't. But that's the nature of the beast. This cluster has really started to pop off here along and south of 95 and Pulaski, from Edgewood to the Proving Ground to Betterton to White Crystal Beach and Cecilton. So all along the northern sections of the bay, this is probably going to merge up with that northern portion of the line that's moving through Baltimore County now. So more heavy rain right now in Westminster, back up towards Taneytown, and then we got some light to moderate rain back along I-70 and I-270, Gaithersburg to Urbana, Mount Airy, Monrovia, Newmarket, the city of Frederick, and then it starts cutting off once you get to the Potomac here. But we still got this line to move through Charles County. Thankfully, it's dropped below severe limits, but could I rule out another thunderstorm that could produce winds 40, 50 miles per hour? Charles County, PG County? I can't, but we'll have to wait and see with time. The severe thunderstorm warning, that's probably going to get dropped. We're probably going to have the severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Carroll County and predominantly northwestern Baltimore County get dropped. And a new one may be issued now for northern and central Baltimore County if things do continue in the trend that they do. But again, that's a watch and wait type of deal. And then this line just extends back down. So northern and central Maryland right now, the 95 corridor, the 83 corridor, you're getting on the heaviest stuff now. Not too long from now, southern Maryland, you'll have to contend with this. And could I rule out some storms to Salisbury, OC? No, but it would be really, really late, and I think your chances are somewhat lower. But that is the general gist of things right now, and they just dropped a warning. As you can see, we're back to the regular black and gray format with no active alerts right now, which is good. So, barring anything happening, I will stay on until 9:30. If we have a warning, I will update you and let you know. And it will depend on the severity of the warning in which do I stay on stream or not. But this is the gist of things right now across the state of Maryland at this time. Flash flooding, could I rule out a flash flood warning being issued at some point down the line? No. Montgomery County's had a lot of rain. Carroll County's had some good amounts of rain. Baltimore County too. As a matter of fact, I could look at the storm total precipitation and tell you, yeah, Carroll County has been hit with some good rain. Loudoun County, Fauquier County, down into portions of Prince William, Warren County, Page County, Frederick County, VA, back into portions of Jefferson, Berkeley, Morgan counties in the Panhandle of West Virginia, Washington County, some good rain there. So I can't rule out a couple more flash flood warnings being issued, but we'll have to be vigilant of any flash flooding that does occur, warning or no warning. So that's just something to note among the other things to note that we've had to talk about here during this stream here this evening. Uh, Anything else? I don't really see much. I'll just check back west. We do have more storms in terms of the national view across the Ohio River Valley, back up into the Great Lakes, and this spans back into the Four Corners region as well. We have our little tropical disturbance here down in the Gulf, New Orleans, Gulfport, Biloxi, Mobile. A lot of these areas here in southeastern Louisiana, the Gulf Coast there of Mississippi and Alabama. We have a disturbance there, and then we have some activity down in Florida and South Georgia. Heavy rain here. Goodness, it is pouring on the west side now. All right, hang on 1 second. All right, back in play. Let me take a couple looks at some cameras here. I'll pull up. Is the Earth Cam downtown have good contrast for once? For once, please, Earth Cam. I need you to have good contrast. Let me check the aquarium camera at the harbor. Otherwise, we'll have to go to 100 light, per usual. No good contrast there. Ay, ay, ay. Guess we'll have to take 100 light and roll with that here in downtown. Heavy rain in downtown, by the way. I'll pop this up over here. All right. So there's 100 light. Look at the, and it's gonna pan between, of course, the three venues. This is the bank. Heavy rain at the bank right now. Let's probably go swivel over to Camden. All-Star break, obviously. No games, but heavy rain. You can see the pavement reflection, some lightning in downtown right now as these storms do approach from the west. There have been some light rain, but we do also have a heavier batch right now over the east end from Hawkins Point across the Patapsco into Edgemere and Dundalk and Essex and Parkville, Overlea, Kearney, Rossville, um, Ro- Rosedale area as well. But really, if you could call this a main event, this is your main event right now. That's moving through Stevenson, Pikesville, Lockern, Woodlawn, down to Relay and Elkridge. That's moving through Glen and Park Heights and Edmondson Village, Pimlico, right by the zoo, Television Hill, Sandtown, Winchester, um, right by Mount Washington Pediatric. Those areas there. There's Union Crab Brewing, and there I believe that's a really athletic complex. TV Hill should be right here. There we go. There's TV Hill. There's 11, 13, 11, 13, 45s just off of Rock Rose there. And what would that be? Is that Hooper? It's just an extension. No, that's 41st. So that's 41st right by the Manor, Alice Manor nursing home there. But that is the general gist of things with this particular line that's moving through. Some real heavy stuff. Pikesville northward into Mays Chapel, Cockeysville, heading into Lutherville, Timonium now, Phoenix, Sparks, Glencoe, Moncton towards Sweet Air, Sturbridge, the Lock Raven's going to be in play with this as well, Glenarm, the Baldwin in due time. So central and eastern Baltimore County, strap up. Towson area, Hampton, Oakley, strap up because this is about to head through and you're going to get some pretty good rainfall here in a short amount of time. Thankfully, this line's starting to progress just a little bit faster, which is a benefit. But at the same time, if you're out driving, especially along the Harrisburg right now or the JFX, the northern end of the Beltway, it's going to be a ride. I'll tell you that because those visibilities are going to go down rather quickly with that. Heavy rain, some heavy stuff here. Columbia, down 95, 175, the BW, 198, 32, Savage, Laurel, Beltsville, Greenbelt, Fort Meade, Odenton. That's heading towards Bowie, Bowie State, Crofton, Millersville, Severna Park, Glen Burnie, Harmons. The airport's getting hit with some good rain right now, so I'm curious to see what the observations will behold from that. Into Pasadena, and then towards Riviera Beach in due time, the Magothy River, the Severn, as this moves through. And it's already lightening up here, which is good news. But again, this is quick. This is about 10, 15 minutes worth of some solid heavy rain that's about to move into downtown, and then it will be out of our hair. So, with that said, I think I'm going to end the stream here. Just expect some heavy rain. Be mindful of flash flooding. Flash flooding is one of nature's leading killers. You never know if flash flooding can occur in a short amount of time if you don't have the intuition, the proactiveness to be prepared. So please be mindful of that. Texas should have taught us this, if anything, from what has happened there and the tragedy. Was it now 2-3 weeks ago? It feels like just yesterday it happened. So with that, I'm gonna get back to this view, and just so you know, I will be watching if anything else pops up throughout the night. Any more high-level severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings, although I do doubt it, I will be back on to cover those. With that said, be safe. Try to stay dry if you can. Look out for flash flooding, and be mindful tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. I'm Jay Mitchell from 4Now WX.